And now here's my wife June in conversation with another old friend of roundabout, Mr. Walter Gardiner of Condicote.
How many women in this part of the world used to go out and work in the fields?
Well, I can remember 7 or 8 that used to go out to work. Of course, that's going back in the days when the First World War was on, you see, when all the women had used to go out to work, because all the men was gone to war, all the best of the men.
What jobs did they do?
Oh, they used to do stone picking and squitching and sack mending, and they'd even used to hoe the wheat as it was growing in the fields with little tiny hoes. I know them hoe the wheat.
It was very tedious work, wasn't it?
Yes,
very long hours, actually.
And then, of course, there were Swedes. When the Swedes was growing, they'd used to take their hoes and cut them out, what they call cutting them out, leave them so far apart. Same with the mangles.
And then I suppose after a hard day in the field they had to come home and do their own work.
That's right, they had to go home and oftentimes get a meal for their husbands and of course we children as well, you see.
Did your mother work very hard?
Yes, she did. My mother, I can remember my mother, she used to go to coal cart and stone cart, as we talked about just now about the roads being made with stone. She used to go into the quarry with a horse and cart, load the cart with these big stones, and take it and tip it upon the side of the road, and then of course they had to be broke to mend the roads.
That must have been very heavy work for a woman.
Yes, it certainly was.
Mr. Gardiner, would you agree that years ago, when everything was done by hand, haymaking and harvest was much more of an event, even a social event in the village?
Oh yes, it certainly was. And it was much harder work than what it is today. I mean, say, for an instance, the hay it used to be all cut. There was mowers, it's true, to cut the grass, but afterwards there was a turner to turn it, but it had all got to be put up in what they called cocks, and then pitched with a fork onto a wagon, then pitched again off of that wagon onto the rick, which was much harder work than what it is today.
And with the corn, of course, it all used to go into stook.
Yes, well, that was cut with a binder, you see, the corn. That's, of course, I have tied a little bit of corn up, but not very much, only when I was by what had used to be done. I used to fag it years ago, with a fagging up the corn, and have a fagging stick. A fagging stick made like that, you had the fagging stick in one hand, in the sickle in the other, till you'd got a sheaf, and then that was all tied up by hand. That's how they used to do it.
Must have taken some time to harvest a field, don't you think?
Yes.
And I believe there was an old saying that when the corn was put into stook, it should have the church bells ring on it for 3 Sundays before they took it in.
Yes, well, that's oats. That's when the oats are cut.
All I can say is that summers must have been very good years ago.
Oh, yes, certainly. But you'd be surprised how the work did get done even then. I mean, say, for instance, all that was put into ricks. Well, the thrashing was done in the winter time, you see.
Don't you think years ago that certainly country people were much more aware of the seasons than they are now?
Yes, well, of course, they'd got to be. I mean, all is happened years ago, I mean, especially in these country villages. They'd just got to go to work and come home and do their garden, and they'd got to rely on vegetables as they growed in their garden for their living and their bit of money, you see. And otherwise, if they wanted to go out for a drink or anywhere, they'd got to walk.
Mr. Gardiner, will you give us a tune on your melodeon?
Yes.
What are you going to play?
The Butterfly.
And since we made that recording and had a jolly good tea with him and his wife, Mr. Gardiner has moved from Condicote over to Stow-on-the-Wold. Well, we hope to hear from him from there, and meanwhile Condicote won't seem quite the same.